Hey, the video's turned. Oh, there it goes. Okay, I was trying to turn the video on beforehand, but it looks like it said you had it turned off. So,
Hey, man, I appreciate you meeting.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
I've been seeing your posts in Sub 2. How long have you been in?
Since Gator in April of 23, and then Sub 2 a couple months after that, or 3 months after that. So maybe I don't know, say summer, June, July. Don't remember exactly.
Cool,
Uh,
cool. Yeah, so big reason I reached out to you is we're working on our second pad split. So when I see other people talking about it, it catches my eye even more.
yeah,
So
we've
did
got a
you
really
before?
bad audio connection. I can't. I'm hearing your words are garbled on my end anyway.
Okay, might be my AirPods. I'll just take them out.
Uh, okay. Sounds like the mic, something on the
Yeah.
mic
Is
side, or maybe the internet connection
is
sucks.
that any better?
Oh, actually, yeah, that is better. Wow.
Okay, cool, cool. Yeah, sorry about that. So before you joined Sub2 and everything, did you already have the pad splits? Or that's
No, no, I didn't know anything about investing until, well, I still don't really know that much, but I mean, I didn't start investing until April of 2023. So,
uh,
and I didn't buy my first house until August of 23. So,
yeah, that's awesome. So how many do you have? Like six, seven? Is that
three, no, just three, but we
okay?
have 25 units, 24 in Arizona, and then I'm house hacking in Oregon. So, it's where I live is in Oregon. So,
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, because I remember seeing, I don't have it memorized, but I remember seeing like your updates on a post recent where, I mean, the revenue is quite attractive, huh?
yeah, that's why I did it. I was like trying to find the most amount of cash flow for, I mean, it's work, don't get me wrong, but I was
Yeah,
trying to find something that met the goal, and then the amount of work that went into it was just necessary to get there. So, which is the way it
right.
is. So, I mean, it's like a teeter-totter, like if you want to invest passively and get long-term rents, well, then you're gonna need $100 a month. And if you want to put more effort in it and then a little
Yeah,
bit more, then you get more return. So it was worth it for me.
yeah. Are you using a property manager?
No, well, I mean PadSplit, but I'm doing it all the other stuff myself. So
It's
PadSplit, as you know,
it's
gets
a
all the
lot.
people and what's that?
It's a lot.
It is, but I try to mitigate as much as I can by I ran a pilot, did a pilot, found a lot of stuff that didn't work well, got it all kind of ironed out as fast as I could, and then went into the second one. It was way easier than the third one was just like, I already been there, done that, so it's not too bad. So
And we're in the middle of our second one right now. We have we actually found though someone to manage our first one. Like she owns a couple of her own pad splits, and then for $50 per door per month, she completely runs the Orlando pad split for us.
nice. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm like, I I, I see all the emails come in and out, like just random things. I'm like, okay, she is worth her weight in gold.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I'd like to find somebody in Arizona in my market to do that, but one, they're not that cheap, and two, we don't have the same goals.
yeah, yeah.
So
What would you say your overall goal is?
well, I'm trying to provide. I'm not trying to have low budget, low amenity. Well, I mean, it is low amenity, but a property. I'm trying to have a nice service, right? Like all our houses, they're eight bedrooms, but they're granite countertop. Well, some are granite, some are quartz, but stainless steel, nice stuff. You know what I mean? Like very nice. I keep the air conditioning at 72. One of the houses I keep at 73 just because it's brick and that works out. So I save myself, I think, 2 cents a kilowatt hour by doing that. But generally, I mean, most of the hosts in Arizona, as you can imagine, actually you're in Florida, so you know that the heat is a problem, right? Especially in the summer.
Yeah.
So, we're trying to provide a really good service. And I found that yes, people move, but relative to other hosts, I don't think I have as much turnover as other people. Simply because the house is nice. If someone gives me grief or there's something there, I deal with it immediately. I've asked, I think, six people to leave so far. I just don't put up with it because I don't want other people to move out. In one case, I did wait a little bit because I wasn't entirely sure if it was a particular person, and I did have one person tell me about this person, and they said, "Hey, this guy's this and this and this," but that was a personality thing. and it had nothing to do with the house or the service. So I just chalked it up to, okay, that guy's personality didn't fit, fine. So he moved on, and then I had somebody leave that wouldn't tell me why, and I was like, all right, fine, and I suspected. And then I had two people move out almost within 30 days. And then finally, both of them told me why. And it was because of the person I suspected. So then I had to talk to him and said, hey, man, you need to move on down the road. You need to get out. So he did, no fuss. And it was good. I said, you say nice things, I'll say nice things. Let's just part ways. And so we did.
Yeah. What would you say your average like stay time is per tenant?
About 4 months, I'd say. And it's also because I don't have a year in yet. So I don't have a full year of history. So I can't really say, but it's trending around 4 months now that we're somewhat stable-ish.
Yeah.
And that's it's kind of skewed because two of the houses are in a different area, and there's just different clientele there. That's all.
Yeah.
A little bit better. Hey, Hollis, can you calm down, buddy? Son's down there screaming. Can
Yeah,
you keep it down a little bit?
You might hear mine as well.
Oh, here, I'll tell you what, sorry, I closed the door. Sorry, I know you're recording this, so I apologize, but I'm not sure if you're putting it on YouTube or anything, but you can edit that part out.
You're okay. I figured
Yeah.
If you're looking for anything too, it could only help. Like if you're looking for private partners, stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm not, see, I kind of am, but down the road, and that's why I'm got a little beef with PadSplit because they changed their fee structure.
yeah, I was gonna ask you.
So now I can't do that. Well, I don't want to do that because there's a 10-day variable there that, the original plan was to get in, see if I could do it. And if I could, cool. First one pilot was successful. Boom, we did two more. And I was going to do a few more, let it run for a year or two, and then just see how things went and have some history. And then, reach out to some people and say, hey, this is what I did. If you want to invest, I'm going to go do some more. And then PadSplit changed their fee structure, and there's a 10-day variable that I can't go to an investor and say, hey, I can't tell you what your projected returns are because there's too big of a variable there. You want to invest with me? You know what I mean? Like I can't do it. So
Yeah.
kind of blew that out of the water. So I'm shifting gears, and I'm going to do co-living on my own without PadSplit.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Like PPC, or are you gonna list it on Zillow or Facebook Marketplace? Or
I don't know what PPC is. What is that?
it's just like the random ads on Facebook, for example, that just show up, like based on algorithm search history.
Okay. I've done some. So that's one thing I've learned is I suck at marketing. I've got 4 members so far myself, and that's it out of 24. Because 25 won't count. It's a long-term deal here. But out of the 24 over the course of 9 months or whatever it is, I've only got 4 members myself. Right. So PadSplit does a good job of getting people on board, and that's what you're paying them for, and managing it and collecting rent and all that, which I think is worth it for me. But that's going to be my problem. So I'm kind of partnering with somebody in a way. I'm kind of watching him and seeing how he's doing. He's going live, I think, next week.
Yeah.
And he's already been marketing, and he's got some decent leads, and I'm going to ride his coattails more or less. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was curious how the math that we're seeing at least is with the new fee structure, like the 8%, but 10-day chunk. It looks like they have to stay at least 4 months for it to like make sense.
Did you do the math, the 10 days plus the 8%, or just the 10 days?
Plus the 8, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I did the math in my market, and it's about 8 months for the return to break even for me.
Oh, okay.
So we're about, I'd say on average 200 a week, something like that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting. Are you on the new tenants coming in? Are you like interviewing in a sense to feel out how transient they are?
Yeah. So I don't want to call it a mistake, but in the very beginning, I just took whoever PadSplit gave me because
Same.
a couple of those. One, I wanted to see what I got, and then two, I needed to fill it, obviously, right? Because I needed to pay the mortgage as soon as possible. Because I had construction, I take 2,000, or in this case, the first house was 2,500 square feet, but my buy box in the past was 2,000 square feet, no HOA, no pool, plenty of parking, and with a bonus of paid for solar. But so I had a couple months of construction, so I was already into the first mortgage payment, actually 2 before I had any income. So plus the construction costs and all that. So, but I got into the house fairly cheap. It was a 9% down is what it ended up being.
Oh, nice. It was creative?
No, it was a combination of VA loan and so that I had a entitlement of 300 grand. So, but the house was 450. So I ended up putting zero down for 300 and then putting 25% down for 150. So
Did you have to live in it at all, or?
yeah, I did. I lived in it for not the full year, but about 8 months.
Yeah.
And you know, if the lender wants to come after me for that, they can do it. My wife had cancer. She's fine. My mom had a stroke and then passed away. So I have decent life events.
For sure.
And didn't have a job. So at that time, so I lost the job at that point. So I'd left, but the family stuff, you know, so I'm not
Yeah.
worried about it, in other words. So
I know one idea we're thinking of trying to incentivize people. Curious if you've thought of things like this, but like if they hit us, like charging a move-in fee, but if they stay 6 months, arbitrary number, but whatever, amount of months, then they get it reimbursed, or like gift cards, or are you
yeah,
trying?
I haven't done that, but some of the other hosts in my area are doing something similar. They're not doing that long-term thing. They're doing it month to month. So they it's not a give back. It's a, hey, the first month is what it is. Most people are doing no move-in fees in our market because we were about 115, 120 units online at any given time. Now we're down to 89 in the valley, so it is shrinking. So that's good because there's less supply coming online. Because man, we had a lot of people bring up supply, and then Airbnb's flipped to this, so it was a lot of extra supply, which sucked for me. But you know, more competition. But there's no move-in fees pretty much around the valley unless you're off in a pocket by yourself where there's no other pad splits. Then you can get away with charging it. But right now, if you do the move-in fee, you're not going to get anything for a while. So but what they're doing is they're saying, hey, first month is what it is. And after that month, and there's different variants on this, but they'll say, hey, you'll get, you know, $30 off that month's total fee or whatever. You know, they're giving discounts as they go, as they progress. So they're still charging the amount, and then they worked it out with PadSplit. And PadSplit may implement this because a lot of people are doing it. I haven't, just because I do the promo code thing, and then if I need to fill rooms, I'll do a promo code. I'll price it aggressively and do the promo code, and then just kind of half-ass pray if they stay past the 6 week, you know, promo code thing. So
Yeah, that's so kind of like incentivizing to stay longer by reducing average rent per
yeah,
month. That's smart. Yeah, just nice and simple. Same idea, really. Okay.
yeah.
No, that's awesome. What would you say has been the hardest part about owning the three?
I guess time, really. I mean, I had the time for about a year. I went down there and knocked it all out, so that was good. Yeah, just the time management, I guess, and dealing with people. I mean, I don't have a problem dealing with people. By trade, I'm an IT manager. I'm back to work now,
Yeah.
so I've been back to work for a couple of weeks. So I think time is on top of mind, is why I probably responded that way. But um,
Yeah,
yeah, dealing with people and time.
that's fair. So you have three now, even, or I guess given the changes in the fee structure, do you have a goal number that you want to buy, or you're content right now and you just want to see what happens?
With PadSplit or in general?
I guess with
Oh, I'm
PadSplits.
done. I'm done with PadSplit. I'm not. I'll keep those.
Yeah.
Just because the way I see it is, if I was to start a new PadSplit, so in the beginning you're gonna have a lot of turnover, right?
Mhm.
And so I mentioned this with Atticus. I sat down with him about 2 weeks ago. You know, it was cool for him to sit down with one dude. I'm like, nobody, you know, 3 properties, whoop-dee. But I think what's going on is a lot of people are leaving PadSplit and not renewing because they're going to go do it themselves because of this fee structure. At least that's my guess. And I think the reason that is a lot of people were bringing on investors, right? And so the same problem I have is, how the hell do you bring on investors when you have that variable, right?
Yeah.
So I am going to go forward with co-living, but not with PadSplit. But I'll
Yeah.
keep my three just because they're working out well. Two are working out fantastic. One of them has been a problem child since I've had it, up and down. I've never had a full month in that one ever, not once for the entire 30 days, and that was my first one too.
Yeah.
Partly because of the area, partly because it's super saturated, because it's not the cheapest market to buy, but it's kind of right in the middle. So there, I'd say C plus, maybe B minus neighborhood there. It's in Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah.
And in that radius, there's if I was to look at the valley, that right there is the chunk. A good portion, probably 30% of the pad splits in Arizona. At least that's my recollection. I don't have it in front of me, but
Yeah.
to the south of that, there's more too. But those are like, very problematic, guns going off. Not a good area. I call it's Marysville, but I call it Scarysville.
Yeah.
But north of that, it's not, it's pretty good. It's decent neighborhoods and whatnot. And so, but it's also decent price. And therefore, a lot of investors came in there and started buying up, and they're older homes in the 70s. So
Yeah.
the layout is such that, and the lots are bigger. So parking is key for me, right? So in order to buy, you have to have parking or corner lot or whatever. So it's a good area for that strategy. And that's what I saw, because I looked, all over nationwide, ended up in Arizona, and then ended up in Glendale. I was like, cool. And then shortly after that, it started blowing up, and I was like, crap. So then I had to pivot. And so I took a chance. I was going to go more Central Phoenix, but Central Phoenix, a little bit more expensive, but also a little bit more sketchy neighborhood. So what I did was something kind of weird. I moved away from the central area and I went north. And
Okay.
the reason I did that was I just happened to know that Taiwan Semiconductor was going to come online fairly soon. It was kind of a risk, but it worked, because 15% of my members in those two houses are TSMC employees.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I wouldn't say lucky, but it's a little bit more expensive neighborhood. It's right next to a golf course, so you got that kind of stuff. But what's good about that is I went and looked at the golf course before I bought, and the 19th hole, their little food thing sucks. I mean, it's like chips and hot dogs. And I'm like, really? It's not an upscale golf course, Cave Creek golf course, but around it, people leave there and go get food and things like that. So there's all these businesses all the way around it,
Yeah.
which is good for me, because I think in one of my houses, I have 3 people they all work at sandwich shops or some sort of, retail food shop. So that's kind of good.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next property, it'll be co-living, but definitely not pad split. When's the timeline look like?
I'm actively looking right now. But it's going to be a pretty different play. It won't really be a cash flow play, at least not for a year. Because, and I am looking for a co-living house. So I'm looking for 2 at the same time. And the reason I need to buy a house is before the end of the year is I went back to work. So that throws off my tax strategy completely. And for most of the year, I didn't have any income, which was awesome, because I'm trying to get to a zero-sum game where I don't pay taxes and just, everything's golden. And, those 3 properties are paying all our bills. We're net neutral as far as income versus expenses, both business and personal, which is awesome. Even have an extra 1,500 or so a month, which is great. But I can't scale up or do anything or take vacations, and if I have a bad month, then I'm zero, right? So that sucks. So I did take a little job for, I don't know, I was making like 3,500 bucks a month, and I'm doing velocity banking, which is a whole nother topic, but that allowed me to scale. And every 6 months I could do some chunking towards principal, and it was going to be a longer road. Well, I ended up going back to Intel. And so now the income on the W-2 side just went, which is great, good problem to have. But my taxable income is, every dollar I make is at that higher bracket. So I was like, oh shit. So the only way to mitigate that is to buy another house or 2. Because this is a 60% bonus depreciation year, which means I don't get the same returns I had last year at the 80%.
Yeah.
So, but to answer your question, it's a 2 for 1. I'm looking for co-living, same sort of buy box, but in Chandler, to either add some bedrooms to and run that as a co-living myself. But I'm going to kind of hold up on that to see how my buddy's doing with his and his marketing, and see how his goes for the next month or 2. But right now I'm looking for a primary in Gilbert. And that way I'll buy the primary. I've done the math. I'm going to lose about $8,000 for the first year, because even if I fill the rooms, I'm going to rent the rooms out and basically do a house hack. But it's going to be a net negative for the year. But I'm okay with that, because from my perspective, I know a lot of people say don't buy what they call alligators or non-cash flowing properties. And I agree with that 100% for most people, for 99% of people. But we've got, a couple of $100,000 in reserves. I have a W-2. I need a place to stay when I go down there a lot. I'm going to be down there like half the year or more. So I need a place anyway. And so I'm going to buy a house, hopefully a 4.3. I can have an office be an extra bedroom. But if I can't, 4.2, something like that. Anyway, so I'm going to live in the house, rent out the other rooms throughout the year. And then after that year is up, then switch gears and rent that room out as well. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I
that's,
think Zillow does rent by the room now as of this year.
yeah, they posted up there, but I haven't seen a lot of people say it's working well for them. A lot of people tell me Facebook Marketplace is working well for them, and it's not for me. I found a really weird way to do it, which is Turbo Tenant.
Okay.
And Turbo Tenant's an aggregate tool that blasts out, just like Hemlane or some of the other ones, but it blasts out to all these different sites. Well, those 4 members I told you I got all came from apartments.com. So I decided to go to apartments.com. Well, the problem is apartments.com doesn't do rent by room, or at least not that I saw. So I ended up doing a 1-bedroom, 1-bath posting through Turbo Tenant, which gets on apartments.com. And the reason I do that is it's easier for me to interact with the potential members or people that are going to rent, because when the Turbo Tenant does it, they send you an email and all you have to do is reply and it goes right back to the person. So I don't have to actually do a lot of work. I didn't know that at first. I was going in there looking, finding their emails, copy paste, and sending them my forms and all this crap. And then I was like, oh, one day I don't know if I accidentally replied or whatever, but I saw it. And so that's how I was able to make it fairly easy to leverage Turbo Tenant through apartments.com to get members. So
Yeah, no, that's good to know. I'm gonna have to definitely look at that one. No, that's awesome. You said your buy box too, so yeah, there's definitely a lot of wholesalers in Arizona. What would you say? Are you comfortable saying how much revenue the 3 have brought in for the year for you?
yeah, gross, we're since January, we're at 92,000 gross. We bring in so 2 of the properties bring about 2K net, and the other one is anywhere from 1,100 to 1,500, up and down like a yo-yo. Actually, this month it didn't even. I think it came in at 200 or 300, so it was our worst month for that property ever.
Yeah.
From a portfolio standpoint, it looks kind of funny because last month we came in at 17.9 gross, and this month we got another day yet, but we're at 17.4. So from the portfolio, it looks good. We're down like $400.
Yeah.
But the reason that is one house was full, another house was at 7, and then the Glendale house, my problem child, was at 7 also, or somewhere in there. But I had 2 people left, and I had to kick a guy out. So halfway through the month, so that house sucks. It's basically just paying for itself more or less. But the other properties were full for a good chunk of the second month, so it kind of balanced out. So that's good. But the Morton house, the Glendale house, is just it's kind of a shit show. But we're trying to rebuild it. Like we got the guy out of there now, so now the people that are there are fairly happy. I did have to have cleaning lady come through. I usually do twice a week or every other week, but I had to have her come through every week, that kind of thing, just because of that person. Now I can go back to, and that's another reason why the net didn't come in so hot. It's because we had less people and more cleaning fees and yada yada. Had to buy a new fridge. Just it is what it is.
Yeah, so I guess last question then is, I know you said that you're making higher end ones in the room. Are you doing like desks, mini fridge, TV, like that?
No, I'm not doing TVs or mini fridge, but we are doing nice beds. We're doing the frames that you get off Amazon. They fold up and they're kind of cool. The regular desks that you see, nothing fancy, regular office chairs and lamps and all that. I do put fans in all the rooms, and they're nice rooms, nice floors, and a lot of the houses are vaulted, so that makes it feel bigger. Which is good for the feel, but bad for the AC, as far as keeping things cool. But the beds, I think, is a big one. So most people buy the Amazon specials, which I did too in the first one, and I still have about half the rooms just because those people are still there. But when people move out, I buy nicer beds, and that way it makes a big difference, right? And the cost it's not that much more. I think our queens are like 600 or something for the bigger rooms, but then the fulls, they're a couple $100 or whatever. You know what I mean? So I figure it's worth it.
That's good to know. I definitely appreciate all the insights. So if any Arizona wholesalers want to reach out to you, is it what you have on your screen right there?
Yeah, but I have 2 buy boxes. I have one that I'm really trying to fill now for a one-time, well, every year kind of thing, and then another ongoing buy box. But yeah, it's REIJARROD at YouTube and Instagram. So REI Jarrod, in case somebody's listening and not watching. But my first buy box, I already mentioned. The second one is a either a 4.2.5 or a 5.3, basically 4 plus 2.5 plus, right? So if the 4 has, and let's say 1,500 square feet or better, that way if I have a den, I can make that a room for me. So I'm trying to get to a 5.3 would be nice, but 5.2.5 is nice. In Gilbert, I'm trying to hit 550 or under, which I know is tough, and non-HOA. So that's kind of my buy box there. The other one is, and Chandler might be okay depending on where it's at. I did drive Chandler, and Chandler's just, it's hit and miss depending on where you go. And the other buy box I mentioned, which is the 2,000 square feet or better, non-HOA, no pool, with plenty of parking. So, and that one can be, you know, all the way down to say 400 to, that one I could probably stretch a little bit more and say, well, I'll do the same thing, 550 to 400 to 550, somewhere in there. And that can be, you know, Phoenix, Chandler, Gilbert, Mesa, not Glendale though. Staying out of Glendale for now. And more East Valley too.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's good to know. I'll as I see Arizona deals, I'll definitely keep you in mind. But I definitely appreciate your time here on a Saturday too.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I can help in any specific ways, but if anything ever comes to mind, definitely happy to get back. So
Yeah, man. Yeah.
awesome. Well,
All
cool. I
right.
appreciate it. If there's anything I can help you with at